So I suggest we start the meeting now. So thank you for attending to this webinar. If you want to ask some questions, don't hesitate to use the chat window on your WebEx page, and we will keep some time at the end, time slot at the end of the session to answer to your questions. So thank you again for attending to this meeting. We will talk about how to manage in an easy way and very efficient way your retail activity with Cegid Retail Intelligence. So I'm Laurent Povard. I'm an architect solution architect in the pre-sales team. So I'm very happy to present these solutions today. Our today's agenda will be the following. We will start with a few challenges you may face in your retail activity, and we'll see how Cegid can suggest some solutions to address those challenges. First, by seeing the point of view of the store, what are the main store issues and how we can address those issues thanks to this solution. And then we'll switch to the head office point of view and we will discover the self-service dashboard. Next, we will see a concrete case with Orchestra, which is using store performance, and we will finish with a Q&A session. So, challenges we are talking about, which are there? Of course, there are many challenges we have chosen to say some of them. So maybe the first one is the fact that reports and dashboards are coming from several systems, so it could be a bit tricky for final users to navigate through different systems. For example, maybe they get some information from emails, others from their management tools, from I2 or others, and maybe some of them are coming from an intranet, and it could be tricky to have a global view of what's happening. And because of that, it could be also difficult to have a mixed view on all dimensions, because it can be relevant to have an analysis which takes into account products, level of stocks, customers, product criteria such as department, family, of course, the level of sales on each on channels. So mixing all those dimensions could be tricky, especially if you have multiple sources of data. Something we have also identified is sometimes for some figures displayed at the store level are not exactly the same as that figures displayed at the HQ level. So it could be a real issue to understand why they are different, because it could be a synchronization problem. It could be a method of calculation that could be slightly different. So, of course, it's also an issue, could be an issue. More and more, of course, new trends are final users expect to be able to reach their data from anywhere and any device, and need also to have a great understanding on omnichannel processes and their efficientness. So sometimes it's still tricky to be able to analyze properly all the efficiency of omnichannel processes. And last is also on report and dashboards. There are always been a very high level of flexibility, because the way data are displayed with a proper level of accuracy and details, the way they are presented on the screen or paper, in which order and so on, usually the final users are used to a way to access to this data, and if you change that, it could be tricky for them to use those new reports. So the level of flexibility is something which is really important in data analysis. Okay, so those was a few changes, and now let's talk about solutions. So the solutions we are talking about today is Cegid Retail Intelligence. It's based mainly on Y2. We see some domains. Orly is also a source of data. And in Y2, you have many reports and existing APIs in real time, but it's also interesting to provide two tools. First one is a self-service dashboard, which is a real decision-making tool dedicated to corporate teams. So it's a set of dashboards, out-of-the-box dashboards that can be configured. So it's very visual and responsive. And the second one is oriented to store managers mainly. It could be also used by regional managers, but mainly store manager, and to help them having an efficient access to their data and KPIs. So this second offer is brand new. It has been released last year, and we'll spend maybe more time on this new solution. So those both solutions are based on the Click technology, which is ClickSense. This is very important because this technology brings the easiness of navigation and the flexibility of customization. And those two solutions are loaded directly from Y2 and available in a SaaS model. Okay, so more details about store performance, so dedicated to store managers. So before designing this solution, we have chosen to conduct a survey to store managers who have a better understanding of the current situation and their expectations. And the question was, which KPIs do you need to optimize your store performance? What are your current sources of data at the store level? Is the data displayed today relevant in terms of level of details, easy to analyze and to navigate? And how often do you need those data and what for? So that's why I try to understand to design the proper dashboards to this dedicated population. So first thing we understood thanks to this survey is that several times a day, a store manager need to have a clear understanding of the current situation to take some decision in terms of management of his team. So in this page, we can see the dashboards available thanks to store performance and the way to navigate. So I can choose the first one, which provide a global overview of the situation, basically on today's situation. But I can see that I can also select any time of any period of time. And if I'm a regional manager, I can choose a store. If I'm a store manager, the parameters is already defined. And thanks to this choice, I can, of course, have a global view on my KPIs, on the main KPIs that has been selected by the store manager during this survey, and to be able to understand my sales compared to previous year, in terms of turnover, units sold, number of transactions, conversion rates, and it's very easy to select one of these KPI to see how it's evolving. And it's also possible to switch from a day to a period, a larger period of time, for example, the 7 last days or the 30 last days, and to switch from a dispatch on the hour in the day to a dispatch in the day of the week. Okay, so as you can see, very easy to navigate through this data and to have a different kind of analysis based off what I'm currently trying to understand is today's activity or this month's activity or past week activity and so on, and to switch from one KPI to another one. Okay, so this is also interesting to see that the selection that has been made are kept at this level and can be cancelled very easily just by pushing the cross and resetting this criteria if I don't want to need it anymore, because we will see that it's easy to navigate from one view to another and to keep basically the existing selection that I've made before. So as we said, it's a responsive solution. So if I want to analyze what's going on in my store today, even if I'm not in the store, it's easy to do it from my mobile phone with my web browser, and to see all those KPIs and to be able to choose which KPI I want to drill down and so on. So the capabilities of the solution is the same, but with a dedicated presentation for mobile phone. This could be, of course, tablet if necessary. So another type of analyze store manager want to be able to do is to have a better understanding on global trends on several axes, such as products, of course, customers, inventory levels, and so on. So it's not what is going on today, it's understanding trends on a global period of time. So, for example, of course, one main is a product one. So if I'm back in my solution, I can switch from the first dashboard very easily to another one. I choose the product dashboard. And as you can see, the existing criteria has been kept, but I'm still now able to concentrate my analysis on a specific area of products. I can switch from one period of time to another one, as we said before. In this case, it's dispatched by the time in the day, but it can be also dispatched by a day in my period of time. And in this case, I will select a few departments to concentrate my attention on these families of products. It could be, of course, families, it can be category, it could be season, and so on. And as you can see, I have a ranking on my best products. And as soon as I select some family, this ranking is updated and I can switch my analyze by the last days, and to understand that maybe for this product, I had some stock shortages. Maybe it could be interesting to understand what's going on. Maybe I've been late on my receiving process. Maybe I should use inventory tracking to be better, more efficient in this process. And as you can see, also I can choose my analyze by product or product and color and so on. And if I want to analyze by turnover, by quantity sold, by number of transactions, and so on. So very flexible tool and easy to navigate, to switch from one axis to another and to concentrate on one parameter and to switch to another one. A very flexible tool to drill down more details and so on. So let's continue. Okay, if I switch to another analyze, I can get back a better understanding of my criteria of selection. And now I will concentrate on my customer axis. Probably more for luxury brands, it could be interesting to identify who are my best customers, maybe by type of place. As you can see now on any component of my dashboard, I can expand the view to have a more detailed understanding. I can also export data to PDF file, to Excel file, to work on my data differently. but of course, others has been done to make it easy to navigate inside the tool. But if I want to analyze, for example, on my age range rather than detailed customer, it's possible too. Maybe it could be more convenient for mass market retailer to have this kind of analyze was rather customer by customer, one by one. Maybe it's less relevant for a mass market retailer, but as you can see, all those criteria can be used, and I can analyze by sales, by quantity of, by returns also can be analyzed, and also to identify whether my sales are done to identify customer compared to unidentified without loyalty customer. Okay, so a very, once again, easy tool. So another axis, of course, that could be really interesting for my store users is to understand how my salesperson are performing. So in this case, I can analyze their activity on a period of time that can be changed, of course, on the old products or a specific product category. Because as I mentioned before, this previous selection has been kept, and to also identify the level of discount that have been made salesperson by salesperson. Maybe that's something you should be able to control, to understand also the relation between discounts, level of sales, and so on. Okay, so a very interesting way to understand how my team is performing and in which type of product maybe they should improve their performance. Okay, so another way to work on analysis is to compare, of course, to have a better understanding of the global trend, is to compare, as we can see here, to compare also what's going on now compared to last year, for example. But as you can see here, you can choose the period of time you want to compare. So it's very flexible on this point. And as you can see, you have a comparison of the period that has been chosen before. And this comparison is dispatched by health department, family, as you can see, and I can get through more details once again, because it's always interesting to have a global view and being able to drill further down into my product categories and classification. And once again, I can choose the way those information are displayed. Maybe it's interesting the dispatch on the time in the day, or it could be interesting on the day of the week, and so on. So this comparison tool is really interesting, as well as another one, which is quite rare on this market, is the ability to compare my store to other ones. Something was a real expectation for store manager. And so it's also interesting to know that the group of stores where I want to be compared to can be configured in the setup of the solution. So because of course this comparison is need to be relevant in terms of what type of store I'm compared to. You should not compare shop-in-shop with a regular store. It's not relevant maybe to compare franchisee to direct owned stores and so on. And of course, the size of the store, the region should be also interesting criteria. But anyway, all those comparison can be configured. And in this case, you can see that my figures are compared. I can choose once again on which figure I want to compare my store to the other one. And this dispatch also of the product department, for example, is also interesting because maybe my performance is correct on clothing and has to be improved on shoes, for example. So also dispatch are really interesting to have a good understanding of the current situation and what decisions should I take to increase my performance. Okay, as we said, the flexibility of the solution is key. So we will see a quick example. For example, it's possible to analyze the customer view at one customer detail. Maybe it could be relevant for in a one-to-one situation. And even if, of course, this kind of view is also directly available in mainly in our mobile solutions such as MPOS or Live Store, but if necessary, you could have the detail of what of the previous purchases of one customer, and this is the standard approach of provided with store performance. And you can see here an example of a simplified version of the same view. Maybe from some retailers, the previous one is necessary. Maybe from some others, a simplified view is better to let the store manager or salesperson concentrate on the proper information. Okay, so believe me, it's easy to do because even I am able to create such a simplified version. So it's easy to cancel a column, to add a new one, and so on, and to create some new dashboards to fit to make the solution fit exactly the needs. Nothing more and nothing less. Okay, that was the store manager point of view. As just remind that this tool can be also used by franchisees, also by regional managers, but the main target is the store managers. And now another offer connected to retail intelligence is the self-service dashboard, which is dedicated to the corporate teams. So it's a pre-packaged dashboard set, which is relevant in 4 domains, which are sales, retail sales, CRM, supply chain, and B2B activity. So in each domain, we will see a wide range of existing dashboards. So let's begin. Also, still interesting to keep in mind that it's based on the same technology, so the responsive aspect has been taken into account too. And we will see some examples of existing dashboards. And you have some few examples here, but we will detail in more details. The first portal is a sales portal, which is probably the most used portal this solution, and which is really very efficient to have a global understanding on first my store and product performance and the target achievements for stores mainly. It's also a way to understand which are my main contributors. We are talking about products, store, customers, salespeople, all those contributors can be understood better thanks to this portal. Of course, we will show again some comparison tools as we have seen on the store level. We thought it was interesting to bring such possibilities to the corporate level too. So on products, on store, on period of time, very efficient tool too. Of course, we provide several dashboards on loss prevention. I will make a special focus on that. As we said, we provide also dashboards on omnichannel strategy and to be able to analyze my sales and where they are coming from and For example, the ability to identify which sales has been created thanks to the web activity, even if they are store sales. And of course, there are also some dashboards around stock levels, coverage, stock in progress, available stocks, and so on. So all those dimensions are covered by this sales portal. And let's go with more details. First one, you can see here the main page of my sales portal on my self-service dashboard portal, and we will switch to the sales portal here directly to have a global view on all out-of-the-box dashboards. This is a standard one, and which has been created specifically. And the first one, very interesting, is an overview of my activity, with a kind of close overview to the store level, but of course, dedicated to the corporate level. So I can focus my attention on, for example, one country with a geographical dispatch. And for this country, I can see my store. But as you can see, I can switch from one criteria to another and get more details about. I can expand the view as we have seen before. And in this case, it will be easy to understand for this store the way my KPIs are dispatched on my each department. So as you can see, you can also select store type because it's not, maybe it could be interesting to concentrate my attention on corners, for example, or on my direct own stores, or on my franchises, and so on. So all those criteria can be easily modified. I can choose to order by store and department, or by country and store type, and so on. It's very flexible to use. And in all those possibilities, you can see existing KPIs comparison with last year in terms of units, in terms of turnover. The gross margin also can be displayed for this year, for the previous year, and so on. So very efficient tool to have a global understanding of the current situation. And of course, I can select a period of time. Another, of course, very interesting dimension is the product performance. Product is key in the activity, of course, and this product performance can be analyzed on several criteria. Those criteria we have seen together for the store performance is provided also. I have the ability to understand my best products, to choose one of them, and to be able to concentrate on one family and to see the global ranking of the product on this family with all necessary KPIs that are displayed directly on the screen. If necessary, I can export those data, select a type of store, select a department, and have a dispatch of my sales on my different stores or region, and so on. So once again, a very interesting tool to have this global understanding of my sales, and by with a regional criteria, as well as family, subfamily, and so on access. So once again, global view, ability to drill down, and so on. Okay. Now another very interesting is the ability to control my in terms of audit, maybe, or loss prevention. So a first dashboard has been dedicated to analyze returns, but also other KPIs such as cancellation, discounts, and so on. So any kind of figure that could be symptomatic of fraud. Also a possibility to analyze discounts. And those discounts can be dispatched by store, by type of discount, by type of products, and so on. So any kind of bring down ability is available too. And the last one I wanted to show you is the ability to understand how my transactions are paid. So the dispatch by ways of payment can be also fully understood by this way. So as you can see, it's very interesting because you can drill down very easily, and even if there are a very important amount of data, you can have a global trends and go through more details to identify potential frauds. Okay. Now, vision of stock, of course, is key because, as you can see, as you can imagine, it's very interesting to be able to analyze my current level of stocks. What is the coverage of my existing stock globally, by store, by type of store, by type of products. So all those axes remain available in terms of ability to drill down. And it's also interesting to be able to identify my minimum inventory levels in order to optimize my replenishment. Okay, so all those KPI necessary with, once again, the ability to drill down through my data. Okay. Next portal is a CRM portal. This portal is also really interesting as soon as you are deploying a loyalty program, mainly because usually we want to collect data on customers to have a better understanding of who they are. So we can see that the first level of service that is brought by this solution is the ability to understand this data quality and to understand how my customer are dispatched in terms of age range, for example, or any kind of criteria you have configured in Y2. So because we know it's key to collect some data, but it's also key to make sure that this data is qualified properly. As soon as you launch a loyalty program, it's really important to measure the level of recruitments and to understand which store are performing correctly and which store has to be so improves their ability to recruit. So recruitment rates by store and maybe by regional manager can be also very interesting to understand. The retention rate also is a key in terms of customer data management, because it's important to recruit, but it's important to make them loyal to your brand. And that's why it's also interesting. We will see that later, that to be able to see expired cards, for example. Usually, more and more our customers are using the sales condition engine of Y2 to accelerate promotions and to make them more efficient. But of course, that's key to understand their efficiency and the ROI related to those sales conditions, sales operations. And the impact of loyalty program, of course, has to be measured with more details. So first of all is to understand potential targets. And as I said, if you have collected some information, if you want to communicate to your customers, it's really important and key to make sure that the customer have agreed about the fact to receive some communication from you. So this quality of data is key to process a correct communication and to make sure you won't annoy your customer by sending some not relevant and not expected communication. So this is also really important because if the level of acquisition is low, it's important maybe to launch a special dedicated campaign to make your store aware of the importance of collecting data from customers and collecting consent and opt-in. Okay. Of course, as I said, this tool is fully efficient to understand the ranking of your customer and how your database is dispatched in terms of age, range, but also countries, gender, origin, subscription on loyalty programs, and so on, and by store, by type of stores, and so on. So all those figures can be analyzed. You can rank your products. Once again, it's maybe more relevant for luxury brands and the mass market retailer, but the two possibilities are provided. And the idea is, of course, to have the ability to identify some population, some target to address, to launch some specific actions. Another interesting tool is to have the ability to analyze first the evolution of your loyalty program in terms of recruitment. Of course, it's very important to have this level of recruitment and the level of active cards, expired cards, and the renewal rates also to understand if this program has been appreciated by your customer or maybe less. And to also have the dispatch of the customer by status, because you can define some status on the Y2 loyalty program. So understanding how my customer are dispatched status by status is also very important. Okay, so now two really important portal too is the purchasing portal. So of course, it's important to remind that this portal can be used if you use Y2 to make your purchases, or if you use only to for your purchases too. So in both cases, you can use this dashboard to have a global and detailed view of your current purchases. Very interesting, of course, to understand how it's dispatched by supplier, by region of the world, of course, because many purchases can be coming from very far from our region. So it's important also to have a control of the supplier efficiency in terms of quantity and in terms of delay. And this tool is also really interesting to a global visibility of your receiving delivery forecasts to let you organize properly your house team. As you know, of course, the level of delivery will be known in this tool and will help you to organize the warehouse teams. Okay. Of course, you have analysis of in terms of available stocks, inventories, to understand where it's possible of the level of coverage and the link between what I'm currently purchasing, my expected level of stocks based of this current pending receivings and so on. So all those dimensions can be analyzed thanks to these different dashboards. It's also interesting to compare season because usually purchases are made by budget and the budget are conducted by the analysis of previous seasons. Okay, now talking about the B2B activity, once again, it could be data can be uploaded by Y2 or only. And as you can see, many dashboards also on this portal to have an understanding of your current order portfolio. what is going on. And you can see some example of different axes. Also, you can analyze order, but also invoices and returns. And you can see, and this is now something which is regularly provided in our solutions, the ability to switch from one criteria to another one, to analyze by sales rep, by customers, by country, and type of criteria. You can see that by month, by year, and so on. By document number, it means you can drill down to the level of details necessary, for example, and to have a visibility of each order if necessary. And it's also, of course, possible to have visibility on your delivery planning, once again, in order to organize your activity for shipping, the shipping activity. And of course, we have also some visibility on disruptions on deliveries, because very important to make your customers happy, and disruption has to be identified as clearly as possible to be fixed very quickly. As you can see, the different dashboards on the bottom of the screen, there are also many comparison tools in terms of year, in terms of sales, in terms of season, and so on. So all those comparison possibilities are very also interesting and efficient to analyze my activity, my global activity. As you can see, turnover analyzed by comparison. Okay, we have now a few minutes also to take time to analyze an example of one of our customers that has chosen store performance. So we are talking about Orchestra, which is a very important brand in terms of kids clothing, and but also furniture and different services. It's a big brand because we are talking about more than 400 stores in nearly 30 countries, and with 2,500 employees. So with many countries, as we said. So the challenges for them was a global digital transformation, mainly on a renewal of the POS solution. But this deployment of a new POS solution software, which was Y2, has to be accompanied by a tool for store performance analysis. So the idea for them was to bring a very flexible level of visibility on store activity. And why did you choose store performance? For several reasons. First of them is the use of ClickSense was very interesting for them because this tool was already known by the IT team. It means that they are confident on the quality of this technology first, and on their ability to configure specific reports if necessary. But the second reason was also to be able to capitalize on out of the box dashboards to already connected to Y2, so to be able to deploy this solution very easily with no integration, because this solution is directly and natively connected to Y2, and all those criteria have made them chosen the solution store performance to fulfill their needs. Okay, that was a quick overview of those different tools. So if you have some questions, don't hesitate to use the chat window to send your question on store performance or self-service dashboard. I would be happy to try to respond to your questions. Maybe it could be the time to stop the recording